The makers of this documentary insist that no one attempt to reenact or reproduce the dangerous content portrayed in this documentary, as it may result in serious risk of injury or worse.
If anything happens to me, it is on my shoulders. It's in my hands. Now you guys are clean.
It's an unnecessary experiment, right? Because lightning will kill you as quickly as anything.
I've been obsessed with lightning my entire life. What it's made of, where does it come from, etc. I was lucky enough to get the funds together to get a film crew, and now we're gonna make a documentary about one of the most fascinating powers of nature. Lightning.
Oh, you felt that!
That was shocking! Day one, we're cruising around in Florida, the lightning capital of the world, and we're on our way to meet up with Jeff Bahari, the proud owner of his electrotherapy museum.
Hello.
How are you doing? Daryn.
Come on in.
Oh wow, so what do we have here?
These are early medical Tesla coils, and they were a way of using electricity as sort of a natural cure. Originally they were inspired by lightning. They started to experiment with static electricity, and they slowly developed into machines. Here's an unusual machine from the 1920s. One of the ideas was that it could treat acne.
Ooh, I feel it, I feel it! Wow.
The electrode was charged to about 50,000 volts.
How many volts does something like this produce?
This produces 250,000.
Now that's not the same effect that lightning has, is it?
No. Lightning is extremely dangerous.
After a short tour of his museum, Jeff proposed that we stop by his friend's house, Dan, who had a strange machine inside of his living room.
This machine essentially takes electricity out of the air and creates a potential difference between the two electrodes, the positive and the negative, very similar to lightning. Have a seat. It'll feel like a heavy woolen static blanket all around your body. And hold on to it. You should feel the charge building up.
Feel a little bit in my hands.
Your hair is standing up very nicely. Shake your head a little bit. There you go. And you can see the effects as Jeff just waves by. Now Jeff, if I had the spark.
His hair might start fluctuating.
All right, let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's jumping up and down.
The atmosphere in Dan's house was a little loopy, to say the least. Kind of felt a bit uncomfortable with these two guys standing behind me, trying to shock me like they were getting some pleasure out of it. Can you turn the camera off for a second? I personally wouldn't necessarily want to watch a documentary on lightning if there wasn't anything new being offered. I could be the first person ever on film to get hit by lightning. At that moment, I was seriously thinking, it's not a bad idea to spice up the story. The crew that I was with thought I was completely out of my mind and it was a ridiculously dangerous idea. In order to address their concerns, as well as mine, we went over to talk with Craig Sampson, a physician that has actually worked with lightning strike survivors in the past.
All the survivors that we've worked with here have all had different complaints, depending on how recently they have been hit, or in most cases, we see the patient after they've been hit maybe a few years ago.
Basically, the reason that I'm doing this is I want to go and get struck by lightning, and I'm looking for the safest way to do that.
Why would you want to do that?
Sampson said that this year alone, 245 people in the USA got injured by lightning. Another 26 didn't survive. He told me that the most common injuries are internal burning wounds. So I'd like to find a little bit more information to prevent that from happening. We went to meet up with Joseph Dwyer, professor at the Florida Institute of Technology. Hi, how are you doing? Daryn, nice to see you.
Lightning is a big spark. It makes a hot channel that usually comes down from the thunderstorm down to the ground, and that's how electricity flows through it.
Do you personally know anybody who has been struck by lightning?
I have talked to people that have been struck by lightning, but I don't know them personally. I do know that, based upon conversations, that people do suffer long-term health effects. It's really something you want to avoid if you can.
Anybody that you met that got struck on purpose?
Struck on purpose, well, that would be pretty stupid to be struck by lightning on purpose, because lightning will kill you as quickly as anything.
There's a lot of survivors, though. And I'm thinking with a suit that's made properly.
Yes, if you had a metal suit that was completely sealed, in principle it would work, though, but you'd have to test it. And how would you test it? It's very difficult to measure the currents flowing through everything. It's not something you just put together and go try out to do. It's an unnecessary experiment, right? To actually try to intentionally get yourself struck by lightning. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Alrighty.
This is not a good idea.
I'm starting to have second thoughts about all this. Dwyer knows everything there is to know about lightning, so he probably knows best. But I'm not gonna give up that easily. We flew out to Texas to meet up with Architect, a band that uses a specially constructed suit to work with electricity during their performances. If I also hear from them that it's impossible to do this and not get hurt, I might reconsider my actions. Can I, try the suit on and give it a shot? Sure. I informed Joe that I wanted to get hit by lightning, and for a while we were discussing the suit. What I want to do is actually construct a suit like this myself. He said it was dangerous, but gave me some tips as well. Chains.
Yeah, chains.
All right.
There you go.
Okay.
Weave the chains together. That might do it.
I felt invincible. Like, I don't know, like I didn't feel it. You don't feel it at all. It's not warm, it's not electric or anything. I wish I could do this, like when you get the suit together. You're completely safe. It'll work. You're fine. Not even, like, no idea. It's on the inside, the hands there. Mark, I'm pretty sure that this will work, man. I'm pretty sure that we could do this, that we can make a suit like this, and it'll be fine. I'm gonna look for a conductor right now, something to act as a conductor for the lightning. Hopefully we'll get some lightning tonight. This looks like my room. This will do it. A lot of lightning strikes are actually on golf courses. Next, we stopped at a supermarket. I found some rolls of metal and then went to look for the heavy stuff at a scrap heap. Perfect. Speaking of Faraday cage, gloves. In a thrift shop, I found some antlers. Later, I went to a welder because I guessed antlers dipped in metal will make good conductors. Lightning stays on the outside of the suit, so I took some extra precautions. Final step before the lightning strike. Meet up with a storm chaser named Chris Kalura. He had the equipment and knowledge to take me to an area with bad weather.
Pretty much we're headed west of Fort Lauderdale, where sometimes this stuff can develop into thunderstorms.
Eventually, we found an open field. This is my time. Sometimes there's these moments in your life that you know will be paramount. All right. I felt I was dressing up in a night suit of armor. But instead of feeling armored, I just felt very vulnerable.
That's good.
Lightning was striking closer where we were standing, and I couldn't help but think about the warnings I was giving over the past days. I don't really know, man.
You don't know what?
I mean, I don't feel like I'm completely covered. I don't know if it's...
I don't know. It's not my. I think we're pretty.
No, we're good. We're good.
Gotta rush him to the hospital. So we got a lightning victim, McKisson Park.
It's been a month since my experience with lightning. I don't know what I expected. I expected something else. There's no lasting long-term effects, but I don't want to be back in that same position I was in that car after that experience. I was scared for my life.
The makers of this documentary insist that no one attempt to reenact or reproduce the dangerous content portrayed in this documentary, as it may result in serious risk of injury or worse.